Imagine yourself in a place where people speak a language that you don't understand. What if you are there as a fighter and enemies want to kill you? And I'm talking about real war here, not a video game. Can you fight and protect yourself without understanding what's going on around you? That would not be easy, and probably even not possible. And it wasn't possible for the US soldiers during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's why the local interpreters and translators played a major role in the war effort in those wars. But at the same time, they became traitors in the eyes of some of their fellow countrymen. They considered them collaborators who helped the occupying forces that invaded their country. You occasionally hear about the interpreters' stories in the news. People debate that we should bring them here to America for their safety and how and when to do that. But you rarely know about their real stories. I am Rafid Jabouri. I'm a journalist and researcher, and in this video I speak with Steve Miska, a retired US Army colonel who served as a unit commander in Iraq. He wrote an interesting book about his experience with the Iraqi interpreters and translators. The book is different than most of the other books that were written about the Iraq War. It's full with first-hand accounts and real stories about how lives were saved and others unfortunately lost. But before I continue, let me ask you to like this video if you like it, and please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you. Steve Miska's book's title is Baghdad Underground Railroad: Saving American Allies in Iraq. Most of the events in the book happened during the worst periods for both Iraqis and Americans in the Iraq War, 2006 and 2007. By then, it became clear that Iraq was not going to be safe, especially for those who worked for the US forces. The Congress created the Special Immigrant Visa Program for Iraqi interpreters and translators. But similar to the situation the Afghan translators are facing currently in mid-2021, the question for the Iraqi translators back then was how to reach the United States. Well, it was actually how to reach the nearest US embassy, because the US embassy in Baghdad was not well staffed to process the applications. But it wasn't easy for Iraqis to go to any of the neighboring countries. There weren't many regular commercial flights, and the road between Iraq and Jordan was controlled by Al-Qaeda in Iraq. Even when Iraqis made it to one of the neighboring countries, access was not guaranteed. In many cases, they were sent back to Iraq because those countries did not want too many Iraqi refugees. That's when Colonel Miska came up with his own operation, which gave his book its name.
I think it's a book of hope. It's a book that is, hopefully we're living up to our values as human beings, that if we serve each other, then it's our duty to help each other. And the book was very much my duty, our team's duty of helping our Iraqi colleagues.
Events in the book happened a long time ago. The US forces withdrew from Iraq since, and then went back in 2014. And once more, now in 2021, Iraqis who work for the US forces are struggling to find a way to come to America.
I'm sure you know the programs are on pause right now, and I really think they need to either restart those programs, both the special immigrant visa and direct access, or get other programs in place. I mean, these are people who are in extreme danger and served with us faithfully, and we should reciprocate that faithful service.
The retired colonel has been involved in initiatives trying to help Iraqis who helped the US and their families.
The first one I would say is if people are in Iraq, they should reach out to the International Refugee Assistance Project, IRAP. And many probably have heard of them, but they are lawyers, and they do pro bono legal work on behalf of not just Iraqis, but Afghans, Syrians, other vulnerable refugees who are seeking asylum in the US. They are absolutely a great resource. They have it in Arabic, they have it in Farsi, Dari, the languages that people will probably need to speak in.
And they are here in the US, and people can contact them from Iraq or neighboring countries, and they would do work on behalf of them here in the United States.
Correct. They are based in New York City, but they have offices in Beirut and Amman as well. So if there are Iraqis in Amman, for example, they can go to the IRAP office in Amman and reach out. Or online on their website, they should go to the IRAP website.
And they do represent applicants here in the United States.
They do, yeah. They've done, specifically I recall, a class action lawsuit for Iraqis who are at risk of deportation. And they won. They've sued the Trump administration and now the Biden administration. So
okay, and basically they accelerate the application as a result of their.
If they're able to take a case, they can accelerate it. But also, if a case is denied, they do appeals, and they win 75 to 80% of their appeals. So if for some reason a case is denied, they're a good group to reach out to.
Some people in Iraq and elsewhere would say that those Iraqis who worked for the U.S. forces in Iraq were traitors of Iraq. Those were people who worked for the occupiers of Iraq. What do you say to that accusation and that narrative?
You know, these are people that partnered with Americans at a time of great hope in many cases, where they thought, you know, maybe Iraq was going to change for the better. And, you know, that's not necessarily what happened, as we all know. One more important point, I think, is people take a position for a variety of different reasons, right? It's not just one thing. It's not just the pay. It's not idealism. There are a lot of different factors that come into a decision. And I think that's true for Iraqis. It's true for you and me when we choose our jobs. And so it's complex. Life is complex.
I hope you didn't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you.